So, have you ever seen the thin blue line skulls? The Punisher skulls with the thin blue line flag?
Is this like the decals that people put on their trucks and their SUVs? And, yeah.
And
not Priuses. That you definitely wouldn't see it on a Prius. But anyways, good.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. What in the fuck? You have a Prius? That'd be hilarious. It'd be like a fine sticker on a truck with stacks.
Yeah.
Like I would be totally confused by this.
But I do know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thin blue line was
Describe that in a little more detail, by the way, just for someone listening.
It's a black and white American flag with one of the stripes are blue to represent the thin blue line, which is the difference between anarchy and order that the police represent. Which to some degree I agree with in the sense that, like, I'm not anti-police.
You have to have police.
When people say they're anti-police, I'm like,
it's silly, because what do you do when you're getting robbed? You call the police.
We need better trained police. We need police that have social work ability. They need better funding. They don't need to be militarized.
Dump money into them, man.
Right. But criminals, somebody has to stop criminals from doing criminal shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not anti-police, but the thin blue line was a response essentially to Black Lives Matter. Because some of that Black Lives Matter rhetoric was really extreme. After the George Floyd murder, which is 100% what it was.
Sure. It was.
My sister went to some of those protests, the Black Lives Matter protests, and even she felt a bit uncomfortable because she wants to stop police brutality and change how the police do their job in some cases. But they were there, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it? Now. And she's like, I'm not sure that this is like...
Got out of control, guys.
Yeah, like, dude, there was definitely rhetoric that came from that movement that was just
But
violent.
that's what happens, though.
Well,
when you have one extreme, it'll breed another extreme. You got to be prepared for that.
Right.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
But the protests needed to happen.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm behind the protest. Yeah. There's a bunch of rioting, not behind that. There was a lot more than the liberal media was literally like in front of on fire buildings being like, nothing to see here. It's mostly peaceful. I'm like, oh, there's a guy shooting a guy. Like, what do you mean?
It looked like Mad Max in the background.
Yeah, there's a fucking like that. Is 9/11 happening in the background on this peaceful protest? Like, let's be real here. That shit shouldn't happen, but the protesting should happen.
Yeah,
protesting is deeply American.
Yeah.
And George Floyd was absolutely murdered.
He was murdered.
And they went too far with their anti-cop rhetoric.
Yeah.
So this bore the thin blue line, which by definition is denigrating the flag. Literally showing the flag in any other form than its original form is technically denigrating the flag. Don't know if you know that. Sorry.
Yep.
The Punisher thin blue line flag, though, is bizarre.
This is showing ignorance.
Yes, it is. So look at this. You see these? These are cops wearing thin blue line cop Punisher badges, like patches on their uniform.
Oh, they're wearing the Punisher.
Yeah.
On them now.
They have the thin blue
persons.
Line. They have the thin blue line Punisher skull on their uniform.
Oh, that's not cool.
Who's the Punisher? So the Punisher is a vigilante who, after a series of horrible events, runs around murdering people. Now, bad people.
Yeah, they're bad dudes.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's a fun fantasy. He's an outside the law murderer. Why are the cops taking this as a symbol? Blue line Punisher skull, as far as I can tell, means you want cops to execute people that you disagree with. Like, does nobody think about the symbolism or the imagery that they're using anymore? If I saw a cop car and had the thin blue line Punisher skull on it, I would hope to never be pulled over by that cop, because that cop wants to fucking kill people that disagree with the police. Anybody in Black Lives Matter, he's fucking like, that scares me. And maybe not, maybe he's not thought about it very deeply, but then that also, he shouldn't be a cop. I think
symbolism goes a long way in this stuff. Like, you really got to be careful. Symbolism is very powerful, man. I think people need to realize what this is kind of saying.
Yeah, this is a vengeful, outside the law killer. And you see it on t-shirts. It's like, dude, just what do you want? You just love guns. You love cop violence. You love state enforced violence, but you also want small government. The modern right, man, they're insane. I'm not a communist. I'm still a capitalist. I'm a liberal social democrat. But I understand why communism is so on the rise online in universities, because look at the alternatives. This crazy gun nut right-wing Bible thumping group that Trump has brought to the forefront and made them loud as fuck are scary, anti-intellectual, and should not have power of anything. People are willing to run all the way to communism, which I disagree. I mean, communism's fine. I'm not a communist. I'm not. There's no.
Not fine.
It's fine.
It's not.
It's
work
just a
ever.
form of government. Well, I agree, but it's just another form of government. It's not a boogeyman, right? Like I know communists who believe in the rights of all people and want to see the common man. I may disagree that this will function, but I'm not talking about McCarthyism, Red Scare communism, where you just say the word communist and like you go, oh God, like, yeah, whatever. They're just people that have a disagreement on how government should function. Cool. That's fine. But I understand why they have it, because our representation of right-wing America is fucking insane now. And the thin blue line really solidifies that for me, the Punisher skull thin blue line, because it's so contradictory. You can't think about it for more than 5 seconds before you realize it's ridiculous.
Well, it plays into a culture that I don't know if we've talked about it before. It's the gun culture. It's that scrolling through an Instagram and seeing like a silhouette of a gun and a person holding it, and it's real like laid out, and there's maybe a gun on a table, and they take this real dramatic picture, and there's bullets laying there, and
it's gun porn.
It's gun porn, right? Yeah. I understand we have a right to carry firearm. There's a reason for it, and I understand the reason, and the reason's real. Like the culture around it is really fucking unnecessary, man. And that thin blue line Punisher deal, that's on the gun cases of these accounts. The decals on the back of the minivan, where usually it's like the husband, the wife, the two kids, the little pigtails, and you see the silhouette of the dog. Well, now it's guns, my family, and one's an AR-15.
Yeah, one's a shotgun, and then there's a dead black guy at the end of it. Like that's.
I have not seen that one,
no. Dude. That's next.
Yeah,
yeah. If I ever saw that, dude, that'd be.
No,
I'd probably rear end them.
But yeah, it's not to block your thought there, but like that whole thing,
those thoughts should be blocked.
That whole subculture is really hard.
It's crazy, man. Like I'm a gun owner. I believe in self-defense. I believe in the Second Amendment.
Sure.
I don't believe that restricting guns is actually the right way to handle shootings. I think that mental health and universal health care, that's all going to play a way bigger part. But it's like, yeah, there's this weird, cool gun guy culture where it's like, again, it's like pornography. It's like, dude, I have fucking 7 Picatinny rails and 3 flashlights. And like, when the bad guy comes into my house and be like, pew, 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 pew. You're not going to do that. You have no training. You're going to flip out. Your adrenaline is going to shoot through the roof. You're going to lose all your minute motor functions. You're going to be foggy headed. You're going to grab the gun and then you're going to shoot your daughter in the face by accident.
Yeah. Or
blow
your jaw off.
Right. Unless you're training, the difference between real danger and your fantasy couldn't be more further apart. Your natural reaction to danger is to not react rationally and with a cool head. It's just the human mind. This is what makes that culture so dangerous, is because these people are just going to the range and they're just imagining, oh, when he breaks in. But if you're not trained, it's not going to be that way, man. You're going to flip out and you're going to just shoot when nobody's there, or you're going to kill a family member. You're not a trained military person.
I'll tell you,
you're a fucking coward with a big gun.
I'll tell you who is a trained military person. What's that ad we just watched?
Oh, yeah. Eric Greitens.
Yeah.
Rhino hunting season.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. He's going to kick in the front door of someone in the suburbs and just fucking execute the dad because he's a rhino in front of his family.
Remember, folks, you're not Eric Greitens. Yeah. You're not going to operate your firearm like you think you're going to operate it. Eric Greitens would, though.
Yeah. Should elect him for that. He can just break in and kill all the rhinos. Fucking dildo.
Here's what I want to have happen, actually. I want you to take him to the zoo and put him in an actual rhino cage. Yeah. Give him that Benelli. It's fine, but but at least put 3 rhinos in there with him and videotape it.
Dude, if that was his election promise, I would vote for him. Yeah. He's like, I promise to go into a death match with an actual rhinoceros and kill him.
Yeah, with a knife.
I want it.
If he wins, he gets my vote.
Yeah.
If he loses, well, that sucks.
Yeah.